What's going on, everybody? This your boy King Germ, one half of Pod and Saved Our Marriage. Each and every Friday, Queen Germ and myself drop an episode to show the people how Pod and Saved Our Marriage. Now, we're not like most married couples. Most of the time we disagree, but that's the beauty of the show. So, when you get through listening to Sparrows on the Review, come give us a listen. Each and every Friday on any DSP, go look for Pod and Saved Our Marriage.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm JR.
And I'm Stacey.
And on this venture that we're going on today, this is one of my favorite things to do. Everybody knows I love the Marvel Universe. And inside the Marvel Universe, there are different types of movies, and there are movies that are made under the Walt Disney umbrella. And then there was a set of movies that weren't. They were made by Fox Entertainment, and there's another set that's made by Sony. And in the culmination in the end of 20th Century Fox's reign over the Marvel Universe, which kind of is a tragic thing, Disney bought up 20th Century Fox. We all know that's how they acquired The Simpsons and all that other stuff. There comes a movie, 2024's Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes, that we just watched, and we're going to talk about it.
And this is actually the 34th...
Sorry, I thought you were continuing to talk about that.
And this is the 34th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Screenplay was written by Ryan Reynolds and quite a few other people. Respectively, this is a rated R movie by Marvel, one of the first under the umbrella of Disney, which is a very hard deal to have and take place. And this movie brings back Hugh Jackman after we all know the tragic end of Wolverine series with him in it.
So can you explain that to me? Because I don't watch X-Men, to be honest.
Basically, there was a movie called Logan.
So spoilers for everybody.
Basically, there was a movie, Logan, that came out. That was
the title?
Yeah, that was the final movie in his series. Because here's the thing that goes on. X-Men have a regular streamlined series, like Avengers.
Right.
Then they had some subcategory movies come out. And then Wolverine actually had his own line of movies that actually introduced Deadpool and all that other stuff. And all that stuff was under the Fox umbrella because they owned the X-Men part of Marvel at that time.
Okay.
Because Marvel was going bankrupt. So that's the whole story about how movie characters got sent to Universal and all these different companies, because basically Sony in the 70s grabbed hold of Spider-Man and made a TV show. Like, they've had Spider-Man since the 70s.
Okay.
And that's why he's still under their umbrella and certain characters there.
Okay.
And this being the last 20th Century Fox film, you don't see very many highlights about this, but basically when the acquisition took place, they were able to get licensed back to the mutants. That was what's always been missing from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because when Quicksilver and his sister Scarlet Witch were in the Avengers series, their X-Men origin, because they're actually X-Men characters, was taken away, and they were given a new storyline. So now they can have their official storyline, and they can reunite with their father Magneto.
Okay.
So it's a whole lot that went on in this legal process that has tied in together. So this is the sequel to Deadpool and Deadpool 2. This movie ties in one thing that's been going on in the whole series, the whole multi-universe thing, and it does everything in a fun, edgy, and comedy-centric way.
Right.
What I will say to anyone that has not seen Deadpool, this is a cautionary warning that this film will do you no justice in watching it.
Right.
Unless you have some ties to it. And then the other thing, too, is, on a side note, with the way that the way that Fox does their movies, it's not your normal MCU movie.
Right.
Very lengthy for this one.
It was.
And if you don't know characters, you will get lost in the sauce in this one.
Right. Because without giving too much away, they brought some people in that were part of movies in other places, which kind of ties into the multiverse type thing. And I had to ask you a couple times, well, who's that? Where's that one from? Who is this one person? And whatnot. One of them I knew for sure, but the other ones I didn't know anything about them.
Okay. And this movie was one of those things that, because of the SAG-AFTRA strike, it kind of, production on it was suspended, started going. And the only reason I mention that is because the quality of the film that we get here is, this is the best thing to come out of the MCU in a long time.
It is a really good quality movie. Like, all of the effects and background stuff and the editing and everything like that, they did a really good job putting all of that together. It wouldn't surprise me if, it gets some recognition at the end of the year.
And a runtime of 128 minutes. Its budget was $200 million, and right now, globally wise, it's about to hit $420 million. After it's all said and done, what we got right now are once again, this is another movie that we've gone to see opening weekend.
Right.
So
we don't know box office yet.
Yeah,
but it's also one that I definitely, if you're a Deadpool fan or even a Marvel fan or a fan of X-Men or whatever, even if you just like Ryan Reynolds, go check it out. But also have a little respect for your other people watching movies in the theater. Don't take your 3 or 4 year old that can't sit still to the theater on this movie. Because, if you let your kids watch that, that's your choice, whatever. But have a little bit of respect. Like, we had an issue today where there was these 2 kids just running back and forth up and down the aisles. They weren't too loud, but it was enough to be annoying.
And I will say about this movie, there are tons of cameos, and I'm not going to spoil any type of cameo in this movie because this movie, I will say this, it pays homage to 20th Century Fox Marvel.
Okay.
And if you understand that as a fanboy or fangirl or fan whatever, you will understand that this movie does due diligence for the people that co-star or make a cameo in this movie. And right. One Easter egg from an X-Man. I will say that there's an X-Man in here that's an Easter egg of a canceled movie that never happened. And it's a butt of a lot of jokes, but when you see him in the movie and you see what he does, you will be highly amazed at the cameos that these characters bring to the table.
So a funny thing to point out is during the previews, like the opening previews of the movie, they showed us a movie that is coming out, and when we got to that part in Deadpool, like, you got to look at me whenever I say this because I don't want to spoil it for them. You know the one I'm talking about, right? Like, they had the movie with the...
Yeah. Right.
Of course, they could probably heard me say that because the microphone's up too loud. But that kind of threw you off, too. Like, that part in the movie, you're like, oh, it's this person. But it was really this person, which is the same person, but a different person.
Right. So, like I said, if you pay attention to the thing that I said clearly in this about 20th Century Fox Marvel movies, that's basically the spoiler I just gave you.
Yeah, but what all of them are technically Marvel, aren't they?
But they're 20th Century Fox Marvel. They're not MCU. They don't count in this series.
Okay.
So it's a whole different ballgame. Another thing is Harold Happy Hogan returns, which, he's comic relief.
Who's that?
The guy that interviews Mr. Wade Wilson at the very beginning because he wants charter inside of the Avengers.
Okay.
And he,
the driver.
The driver, yeah. So there's so many different characters in this one that I will say this, that it was very exciting to see some members of X-Force on here. And various different things that happen, and you get the corp of Deadpool. And it's so many different things that happen in this film that make it very exciting for me. But
it had some good funny parts. It had some parts where I'm just like, oh, okay. And I was kind of creeped out by the dog part. Like, I'm sorry, but how can you let a dog lick your face that much?
True. And I will say this about this, that I was really, I remember when this happened, like in 2017, when the acquisition took place, I was really wondering what was going to happen to Deadpool, because I didn't feel that Disney would allow...
Right, because of the basically crude nature of Deadpool.
Right, but let's be honest here, and this is just a little off topic, this movie's going to save Marvel. It has enough power behind the character of Deadpool, because, people are going crazy. He's got a freaking plushy Bluetooth speaker at your local Walmart and Target.
Listen, I just wanted the baby popcorn bucket and drink, but I couldn't get it because we don't have that type of theater around.
Right. And that's something with a bunch of the
So
releases.
if anybody's got an extra, let me know.
But what I will say is this film was written pretty well. And it was kind of like, it's cringy in certain areas, because if you don't know this story, you like I try to put myself in the position of someone that's just watching it for the first time.
Right.
And if you don't know anything,
Me.
yeah, because you're not part of the
Right.
20th century Marvel.
It's a lot. I didn't watch it as it was coming out and stuff like that. So it's a lot for a person to take in all at once and try to remember all of this stuff. Those of you that are super fans and stuff like that, you know, you've watched them multiple times, so you know what's going on and you have the capability to run everything together. And to me, it's just like, oh wow. And it's like, ooh. But some parts were kind of like, oh, okay.
And then the thing is that how the MCU has cleverly put the mutants into existence in the MCU has been very careful, because we've seen it in a lot of films. We've seen it at the end of quite a few films, and we've seen it in the last Captain Marvel movie. That's what initially that, and then the Doctor Strange, where they had the variants and we saw Professor X and all these people. So the thing about this, and this is the fair warning I'm going to give anybody before we end this episode, is this. If you really need the backstory for Deadpool, you have to go back to the Wolverine movies. You don't go to X-Men at all. X-Men, they are a part of his history because of the branch off of X-Force. But
so, like, if you want to start it from the beginning to learn the Wolverine story, then yeah, you can start with X-Men. But if you just want to get caught up on this Deadpool Wolverine movie, you're saying just go back to the Wolverine movie?
Go back to the Wolverine movies.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, there is a whole installment of those. I forgot how many it is, but it's quite a few. But it tells the story of their origin. You get their 100% origin story, so it works. And then the crazy thing inside all of this is Ryan Reynolds has ties to all this. He has ties to a vampire slayer. Because there's another series. I'm gonna have to show you all this after we get off of here.
Okay.
But they put Easter eggs in to tell stories about how some of these people have replayed roles multiple times.
Right. That's where their comedy comes in. And I like how he throws in some real life in that.
Right.
Because there was one part and he said, well, I don't know how Blake would feel about that.
Right.
And
then he said something about Hugh too.
Yeah.
And then another thing that was funny is
in the beginning,
he took a nice jab at Daredevil, which is Ben Affleck.
Okay.
So that's a whole story there, because a quick side note, Ben Affleck, that's where he met his ex-wife.
Right.
So if you watch
the one, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so when you correlate everything, there's a lot of humor in it. And like I said, the Easter eggs in this movie, if you pay attention to them, they're very good. Make sure you watch the ending of this movie.
See, to me, the post-credits weren't anything. Is that what you're meaning? The ending, like the post-credits?
Yeah.
It makes sense and it ties up part of the story that's already happened. It doesn't lead you to anything in the future.
Right. It's not your normal MCU.
Right.
And on that note, like, I'll say this, I liked it because it ended the joke. It kept a long-standing joke that went on through the whole movie. Right. And it ended it. And that's the thing that I liked about this, the comedy in here.
Like, it wasn't a joke. Like, it was serious. And it just cleared up the seriousness.
Right.
It's like, let me prove I'm not an asshole.
Right. And shout out to everybody in this movie, and once again, shout out to the production. My God, through those credits, it was so many people involved in this movie.
Right.
So I do want to say thank you to Marvel, Disney, and everybody that's around in that area, and to 20th Century Fox, because you created an amazing series that is being continued. And this is one thing that didn't get thrown away by Disney. Like, they actually let this happen. And how long it goes on, I don't know. But on my note, this movie, Marvel movies don't go into my archive.
Right. I think probably just because they're so long. And that's me. Like, I'm not going to say I'm not going to watch it again, but I'm not just going to randomly pick this movie to watch because I'm bored.
Right.
I don't have the attention span for that.
So, if you're a fan, this does Deadpool justice. If you're someone new, watch the whole trilogy.
Right.
And I like that now that there's a set trilogy. There's something that you can say this is definitive. Like you have Thor, you have Iron Man, how everyone has their own movies. And rest in peace to Ant-Man. I got to give him a shout out.
Did he get canceled? Did he in any of the movies?
No, but in this one, that's one spoiler I will give.
Right. Okay, because that's where I was confused. I didn't think he had been.
Right.
So I was confused on why.
Yeah, it was crazy that he.
I think it was just like a replica. Then it had to be.
I think, well, with the way the realities were set, somebody 87 did.
Okay, because of okay, that makes sense now, because like you said, the alternate universes and stuff like that, multiverses or whatever.
Multiverses.
Okay.
So he got 87 and it was just
okay, so he did in theory for this movie. Okay.
Right. So shout out to him and that. Paul Rudd, you played an amazing part in this. If you watch it, you'll understand. And shout out to smoke monsters. Ever since Lost, smoke monsters have been things that have been scary. And in this movie, there's a smoke monster that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
The only thing that didn't make sense to me the whole movie. But everybody, I'm JR.
And I'm Stacey.
And the amazing thing is you can find us across the web. Where, Stacey?
We are on Instagram. Which we are once a week actively posting there for now. I do a TikTok as well. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can also email us at sparrowsunderreview@gmail.com. And I think that's about all we have right now.